Good morning, good morning, good morning. What are we all working on? Objections, questions. Morning, Sohail. Morning, Sean. What are we all working on? JP, Matt.
Hey, if nobody's giving you anything, I'm calling expireds.
All right. Yeah, I can be the expired listing.
All right.
All right.
So, yeah, ring ring.
Hello.
Hey, I'm looking for John.
Hi, who's this?
Hey, John, this is Max of EXP. I'm actually calling about your property on Banana Street. So the reason for my call
Okay, what
is,
about it? Sorry.
yeah, the reason for my call is the property came off the market about 35 days ago, and I was wondering when you would be planning interviewing the right agent for actually getting your home sold.
Oh yeah, no, that's already taken care of. We already had the agent come over and we're just gonna sign this week here. So yeah, thank you for the call. Appreciate it.
No, absolutely. And it sounds like this time around, you guys are taking the interviewing process seriously. And I know on the first time around, you were very confident in the agent that you chose. And I was curious if it might be worth your time for 15 minutes just to hear a second opinion to keep everybody honest.
No, but thank you for the call. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. How about this? Just before I let you go, I'm just curious, what made you choose the agent you're going to go with?
Yeah, they sell a lot of homes in the area, so yeah,
So
definitely better than the first guy. So it was easy. Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. So a proven track record in the geographic area, that sounds important to you.
Yes.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I would agree. How about this? And I know this is a huge promise, but if you knew without a shadow of a doubt that 15 minutes of a sit down, and at the end of that sit down, if you don't choose me, you can just shake my hand. We'll still be friends. If you knew without a shadow of a doubt that you could earn an extra $15,000 by just sitting down with me for 15 minutes, do you say that would be worth your time? And be honest with me.
Well, I mean, it's kind of a random promise. 15,000. That's not really nearly enough for my 15 minutes. So I don't know.
$1,000 a minute. Well, my goodness, my guy, you are making tremendous amount of money if that's not a consideration.
No, this property's worth 1.5. So I mean, what's $15,000 going to do me, right? So it doesn't, But yeah, I gotta go.
Okay, sir, if $15,000 isn't worth 15 minutes, I can completely understand your reservation. And honestly, at this point, if that's the course you're taking, I hope you have a wonderful day.
All right, thank you. Don't give up. No,
Well,
don't give up.
honestly, yeah, I'm just green at this.
No. Oh, okay. First of all, you sound very, very good, and that's why I was pushing you very hard here. But I wouldn't give up. I just
Okay.
kind of level with him, right? What's the script? What's the next question on the script?
So
If you were to follow the script.
I just used a bunch of old ones because I just got into Aaron Novello's and I'm looking at I think it's Morales, his script. And
Okay, what's the next question on the script?
sir, you already chose the next agent, right? So the next question would be right back. If I handled that objection and went right back into it, which I did not do well,
Mm,
it's how did you happen to pick the last agent that you listed with, which I tried to address? And
yes,
then what did that agent do that you liked best?
sure. But do you know where I was going with my real estate goals?
No, I don't.
No, no. So the next question logically is, gosh, you're in a beautiful neighborhood. What do you think stopped your home from selling first and foremost? And then next is like, gosh, if you were to get the price that you want, you said 1.5 million, had you actually got the home sold, where are we going next?
Okay.
And if they give you that, like then you have another angle to go to. Right now, you're just making promises on getting you more money. That might not be it, right? So let's go from that angle. So I say, hey, you know what? We've already got an agent, and I picked him because he's a local specialist in the area. Go back into it.
Understandable. And picking
Yeah.
someone with a proven track record sounds important to you. So I guess what did that agent do that you liked best?
I mean, they did a lot of open houses, but it ultimately it didn't sell. So this one here, they're going to do a lot of online marketing and all that, and we felt pretty confident. So we're likely going to sign with him.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's understandable. And I guess my question may be, what do you feel your last agent should have done to actually get the home sold?
What do you feel you should? Well, get my home sold. That's why we're choosing the next one. I mean, it's pretty straightforward.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And choosing this next one, that sounds like the path of least resistance. And I really respect that. I guess if your home had sold back when you listed it on the first time, where were you moving to next?
Oh yeah, we're moving in the area. We've already got the next place kind of picked out, so that's why we need to move quickly now. So yeah, but hey, listen, I don't mind if you have a buyer, why don't you just bring them by? You can talk to my agent.
Honestly, yeah. How about this? If I had a buyer, if any one of these agents had a buyer, you probably would not be getting any one of these phone calls. Does that make sense?
No, I don't know what you mean.
That's fair. Right now, when you put your home back on the market, there were no buyers at that price point. See, this is where I need your advice. I'm sorry, because I'm just floating in water.
Okay. No. So what's the next question on the script after this?
Have you already chosen an agent to work with, which you said yes? And then I would like to apply for the job of selling your house. Are you familiar with the techniques we use to sell your home?
The next question after where are you moving to, which I gave you, and I already have a place picked out. What's the next question on the script? Logically.
How soon do you have to be there?
Yeah, there you go. Okay, so move with that.
Okay. You did mention that you have your next place lined up. My curiosity is, I guess, how soon do you need to be in your next home?
Well, I mean, we already made an offer on the other place. So, I mean, our closing date's like 2 months. So we have to get this sold. And that's why, like, we got to move.
Got to move. Yeah. That sounds like something that is like a pressing matter. If you could sell the home
let me ask you, do you have a buyer?
I don't have a specific buyer for your home. What I do is I help bring buyers to your home as a profession. Does that sound like something?
Yeah, I mean, you could bring a buyer for sure. That's not a problem at all.
Yeah, and the way we do that is through our unique selling program. Are you familiar with the way that we sell homes in your area?
No.
Okay, how about this? What would be the best time to show you? Would Monday or Tuesday work for you, or mornings or afternoons better?
I don't know. I'm already kind of committed to the other guy. Why don't you do this? You sound like a nice guy. Why don't you drop your business card and, some of your information in the mail? If it didn't work out, in the next month or so, we'll definitely, give you a shot.
Okay. I'm sorry, my man. I don't really know where to go from there.
Good job, by the way. No, really, I'm pushing you hard today, man. So great job.
No, I appreciate
thank you for
that,
just
but
kind of like sparring with me here. Okay. So, he has a motivation, which, he has a time frame, which, I would get in front of him no matter what it takes. So why don't we do this? I'm in your area tomorrow anyways. If you wouldn't mind, I can come by at around 4 o'clock. When I see you, it's going to be a 10 to 15 minute meeting. Can I share with you the 3 things I can do for you when I'm there? Okay, perfect. Well, number 1 is I might have a back pocket buyer that, on an outside chance we can bring to you and your property be sold. Wouldn't that be great?
yeah,
So number 2 is I can bring you all the comparables in the area, things that are on the market, things that have recently sold. And further to that is things that you can't even see on the market that are off market competing against you. Would that be of value to you?
Yeah, that would be great.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. So lastly, if you'd like me to, I can show you exactly what we do differently to get you more money in this market. So you did say tomorrow 4 o'clock work for you?
Yeah. Yeah, that would be best.
Okay, perfect. I look forward to seeing you then. So I would try to get in front of them as much as possible. At this point, because he's already kind of chosen an agent, it's a little bit of a Hail Mary, but I would still try to get in front of him no matter what.
Okay. John, do you care if I run this back to you to learn from you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And then I'll be the seller, I guess, this time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, you mean from the top?
Yeah. Yeah. Because I'm going to throw the same objection at you.
Okay, sure. All right, ring ring.
Hello?
Hi, good morning, Max.
Yeah, this is Tim. Mass is calling.
Max, this is John. I'm calling on your property on 123 in Primrose Lane. Is that still available, sir?
Are you another agent?
Yeah, so I looked on the line online here and just wondering, it looked like it came off the market. Are you still looking to sell it?
Yeah, but we've already selected our agent.
Oh, perfect. You know, I talked to a lot of sellers like yourself in today's market, and it seems like they're all trying to get their property sold but are unsuccessful. Let me ask you a question. Had you sold it successfully, where are you moving to next?
We're just moving right across town, and we already got the offer accepted. So
Oh my
we're
gosh.
kind of on a time crunch here.
Yeah, so you got to look for a buyer immediately, right, Max?
I mean, yeah, ideally, we were thinking that we would already have this sold. Do you have a buyer?
You know, we have a database of 20,000 buyers in our back pocket that we can match you up with, you know, but I don't mind doing this. We have a lot of listings in the area. I don't mind coming by and taking a quick look at your home, see what it has to offer. And on an outside chance, I may be able to find you a buyer in this case. Would that be of interest to you?
I mean, yeah, that would. But honestly, like we're probably just gonna go with our agent that we chose.
Hey, not a problem. However, can I share with you what savvy sellers usually do in this case?
Sure, yeah.
You know, in this uncertain market right now, savvy sellers out there are usually interviewing two, if not three agents for the job of selling their home to make sure they get the best agent for the job so they don't leave any money on the table. Now, you wouldn't leave any money on the table for you and your family, right? Going to the next house.
No, obviously we don't want to do that. So I guess
Perfect.
what's your commission?
Yeah, that's a great question. Why don't I do this? I'll come by quickly, 10 to 15 minutes. You know, I can share with you exactly what we do. And at the end of the 10 to 15 minutes, if you don't feel that I can get you more money, I can get the job done, no harm done. I'll shake your hand and I'll be right out. So did you say today at 4 o'clock work, or would 5 o'clock be better for you?
Four works.
Okay, perfect. And before I come, there's a couple of more questions that I need to ask you. May I ask them now?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, perfect. I probably dig a little bit deeper, right? And if I
Yeah.
determine that they've already kind of signed or whatever, I might not go. But in this case, I might go.
Okay.
Yeah, because the motivation level is high.
Gotcha. Thanks,
Yeah,
John.
yeah. But the main theme here, what I'm learning from this conversation between you and me is that we should just never give up and play the hang up game. Because I never wanted to hang up on you. I just kept giving you pushback after pushback, but I never hung up. So you were probably going to hang up with me before I hung up with you.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's never give up. A lot of times you can't say the right things to the wrong people. You can't say the wrong things to the right people. So just keep going, close, and get in front of them.
Fair enough.
All right. Great work. Where are the masters at? Is Jose here? I
Yo,
think he's here. Yo,
what
what are your
up?
thoughts on that? I already have another agent and already going to sign.
Yeah, I think it's the same. It's basically all bundled up in the same objection. It's just like, hey, I'm not sure if you're, hey, I'm not sure if you're open to this. What most sellers do before committing to an agent is they typically take the time to interview a couple different agents just to get a couple different opinions about price, commission, or marketing. Is that something that you're open to? No, I'm not. I've already made a selection. I like this guy. Okay, great. Let me ask you this. I would combine it with one of the lines that the gentleman used. I'd be like, great. Well, let me ask you this. Like, if you knew that you could actually make more money and all that would be required, or if you knew that you would be guaranteed to maybe still sell it or to sell this property this time around, and all that would be required would be a different marketing approach, is that something that you'd be open to? Maybe something like that. So I thought it was great, man.
I think Max did really, really well. I just pushed him really hard. You sound great, Max, and very professional, very calm. And when you said you were really green at this, I didn't believe you. So yeah, great job overall.
I think the other thing is, at least for me in California, this is probably the objection that I get the most. the I've already got another agent. We have 5,000
Mhm.
sales going on in a year, and we have 11,000 agents in our marketplace.
5,000 sales, 11,000 agents. How does that work? Holy shit.
Half a deal per agent, bro. So
What?
So for us to expect that we're not going to get this objection, not realistic.
Dude, that's crazy. Wow. Okay. Hey, Max, where are you located?
Milwaukee, Wisconsin, we have 30,000 agents and 4,000 transactions. We're going to get that objection.
Holy shit. 4,000 sales and 30,000. Wow. That's even harder than California.
Is that a month or is that a year?
Oh, sorry. We're at 4 million a year, I think. Something like that. I can
No, that's the US.
That's the US, dude. I'm all over the map right now.
All good.
All good, yeah.
I just got boxed in my face 3 times, so I'm shook.
No, you're doing great, man. Yeah. Yeah, but that you're gonna get those objections. That's the most common one. So like Jose said, you probably need to, he had like 2 to 3 ways, if not 4 ways of handling the exact same objection said differently. So I would write those down and practice those over and over and over again. Once you get over that hump, the next few questions are just logically, what you will ask, and it'll be easier after that. The reflex no.
Okay.
Makes sense.
And that's what I was going to say to Max. I was going to say, like, I think where most people get stuck is they just have one way of handling one objection. So, like, your way of handling that one objection was, hey, if I can get you $15,000 more in 15 minutes, would you be open to that? And as soon as you got shut down with that, it's like, fuck, where do I go next? Almost. And it's the same thing like for motivation. Like if you look at a script, like a Mike Ferry script, and it says, hey, where are you moving to next? And they say, none of your business. Most people are like, because and the reason is that that's the only way that they know how to ask for the motivation. So the way I look at it is whenever I see the line, where are you moving to next? All I see is like motivation. Like, okay, I think, can we mute her? Carol, let's see if we can mute Carol. Mute. Got it. Okay. Yeah. So all I see is the motivation. So I would just say is practicing a little bit of versatility and practicing different ways of asking the same question or this asking for the same thing. So like, here are different ways. Like if somebody says, I've already got another agent. One of the ways is, well, look, I'm not sure if you're open to this. What most sellers are doing, especially when they had their home listed for sale one time, this next time around, they're typically taking the time to interview a couple of different agents to get a couple of different opinions about price, commission, and marketing. Is that something that you're open to? Let's say that they say no. A next line could be, well, what if you knew, like if they're sometimes they're motivated by time and sometimes they're motivated by money. Based on the situation that Max described, this person is more motivated by time versus money. So you got to speak to whatever they're motivated by. Because if you knew that 15 minutes could save you or can make you an extra 15,000, the guy's like 15,000 won't make a difference in my life. But what would make a difference in his life is that he already opened up escrow on another property and he needs to sell fast. So what we could switch up Max's line would be like, well, if you knew that 15 minutes could guarantee that you sell this property in the next 10 days, meaning get it into escrow in the next 10 days, is that something that you'd be open to? That might be more appealing to John because he's already in escrow on something else. So it's identifying what's important to them. Are they motivated by time or are they motivated by money? And then whichever one they're motivated by, tailoring your conversation to that. So a lot of my scripts are like, well, if the only reason I ask is a lot of the properties that I list for sale, I sell them above the asking price. For this person, the whole above the asking price is not going to be as impactful as if I tailor it towards the time. So I may just switch it a little bit. I'd be like, well, look, the only reason I'm asking about getting one final opinion is we specialize in listing properties that have been listed on the marketplace for 10, 20, 100 days, 300 days. They're unable to sell them with another agent. And then we relist them and we're able to get them under contract in the next 10 to 15 days. If you knew that you can get this property under contract in the next 10 to 15 days, and all that would be required is that you switch to a different marketing approach, something more proactive or something more aggressive, is that something that you would be open to? Then another way you can handle it is I would say something, well, look, I know that it sounds like you've already got in a different agent that you're working with. Before you get tied up in another multi-month contract that could cost you another 6 months, don't you think it would make sense to get one final opinion before getting tied up in another contract that's going to tie you up for 6 months? Another way of handling it would be, well, I understand, John, that you have an agent already that you're working with. Let me ask you this. When you hired the last agent, did you think that you would be sitting here 6 months later without the property unsold? No, I didn't.
No.
Okay. So in order to ensure that you're not here for another 6 months waiting for the property to sold, don't you think it would make sense to interview one of the top agents here in Ventura County to ensure that that doesn't happen again? That's another way of handling that. Another way of handling it, and I handled this with a probate. I was like, well, look, most real estate attorneys. So, John, I understand that you already have a different agent that you're going to be working with. Most real estate attorneys will always recommend that you interview a minimum of 2 to 3 different agents just to make sure that you're getting the best price, the best commission, and also the best marketing plan. Is that something that you're open to? So there's so many different ways, Max, of handling this. And then it's all about having these different tools, almost like imagine like having like different types of guns for different types of situations. Like in some cases, you may need a handgun. Some cases, you may need the shotgun. In some cases, you may need the revolver. So just depending on the situation. So where most people get stuck is they only have one single way of asking for the business instead of having 5, 10 different ways. And if you have the different ways, because like when we're practicing, we're not practicing for the yes. We're practicing for the no. So what John's going to do is he's going to say no, 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 no. And that's what we're practicing for, because most consumers are not going to give us 10 different no's. But if you practice for 10 different no's, if you get 3 different no's, it's going to be a very easy for you to be able to convert. And just know with this objection, it's not going to work every time. Like some people genuinely are committed 100%. But if you can convert an extra 3 out of 10 that you weren't able to convert at $20,000 a pop, that's an extra $60,000 a month, you know? And that could make a big difference.
That was gold. The multiple approach. Do you have that in your scripts on the downloadable thing that you guys sent out when we joined, or is that just like, is this recorded? Can I watch this again and write it down?
Yeah. This is
okay.
Yeah, this will be on YouTube.
Dude, my guy.
It sounds like you're part of EXP, right?
Yeah, I just joined like 14 days ago.
Congrats. So join the Friday, not this Friday, but next Friday call. I'm creating a flow chart with all the different scripts, and or message, send me a DM on Instagram and I'll send you a flow chart on it. And it basically has like it's basically a more advanced thing that we're working on for all the different scripts. So it's categorizing them differently and going deeper on certain things. Like, so for example, like for the motivation, we have maybe like 5 or 6 different ways of asking for the motivation. For the timing, we have 5 or 6 different ways of asking for the timing. So send me a message and I'll get that to you.
Will do. Thanks, man.
Sounds good, man.
Love it. Great job, Max. Who else? Plays, questions, objections. Let's go.
I got I don't know if it's an objection or it could be a condition, but so I've been talking to the seller. He has a rental property. There's a tenant inside that's about to leave, and he's like, "I'm not selling until I get 1.2." And I kind of dug deeper yesterday. I was like, why 1.2? And I found out that he wants 500,000 net bottom line. But again, he's like, if I don't get that net, like I'm gonna rent it out. So like I'm trying to still squeeze in that appointment with him. Would you try to convince that guy to sell it or just have both option, or like how would you move forward with that kind of situation?
Do you think?
What if I got 1.2 for you?
What was that?
I think we asked the same thing, just different way. John asked, "What if I can get that 1.2 for you?" My question was, "Can you get the 1.2?"
Comps is like, it's a strange property because it's a detached townhome that's like in 2,500 square feet, and there's like no comps in the area. I think 1.15 pushing it. But I don't want to tell him flat out like, no, you're not gonna get 1.2. Right? I still want to like go face to face with this guy. He's like starting to open up right now.
What is he planning on doing with the 500,000?
So he was like, no, I'm gonna reinvest in something else. And I asked him like, are you trying to invest out of state? He's like, well, I don't know. He's like either out of state, put it back in the money market. And I was like, hey, like, have you thought about like Delaware Statutory Trust? Because he's a little bit older. And I kind of hooked him on that. He's like, oh, what is it? It's a way to invest where you can get cash flow, yet you don't have to really manage the property. So he's still looking at where to put his money, but I think he just wants to get out of, being a landlord.
Yeah, so he's the avatar of looking to simplify his life. He's getting to a stage where he's tired of tenants and toilets, basically. And basically, so the Delaware Statutory Trust was the perfect solution for that. Reinvesting into something else, I don't really think in this case is going to be a viable option unless it's something like a triple net property, basically. The only thing I would ask as well, too, is because this may be a problem. What area are you in?
Southern California.
Okay, cool. And then do you know what interest rate he has on the property?
That's a good question. I know he just refi last year. He told me like I pulled out 650,000 2023. So I'm assuming
It's higher.
Not 6.5.
It's not a big difference then. So what could happen is he's kind of feels a little bit like, okay, like I refied. Do you know what his age is approximately?
He's probably like in his 60s.
Okay. That's kind of random, like that he would refinance in his 60s and take 650,000 out. That's like not very common. But yeah, I think the Delaware Statutory Trust, I would the reason I ask about the interest rate is like, let's say somebody has like a 2 or 3% interest rate and they're looking to reinvest the money. A lot of times if they reinvest the money, they're going to be getting something with a lot less cash flow because that new interest rate is going to eat into that cash flow. So I'll ask them, be like, hey, do you mind me asking what type of interest rate you have on that property? And be like, okay, well, I mean, it almost sounds like it doesn't make sense for you to sell because if you sell, you're going to be like getting a 7% interest rate, which means more than likely you're going to be receiving a lot less cash flow than whatever you're receiving now. So what I'm doing right there is almost just like reversing it on him and being like, it almost sounds like it doesn't make sense for you to sell. When you do that, sometimes they'll be like, no. Well, this is the reason I need to sell. Or this is the reason I want to sell. So I'm basically like, it's almost like I've never done this, but I've watched videos like if somebody's trying, like, let's say I'm trying to get you to go somewhere with me. And I'm like, and like, you're like, no, like, I'm probably not going to go. I'm be like, hey, it sounds like it probably wouldn't be in your best interest to come out with us tonight. Like, it sounds like it wouldn't be the right environment for you. And it sounds like you probably wouldn't have fun coming out with us. It might be like, well, maybe I would have fun. Maybe I would. So it's almost like reversing on them. But I think it's just going to come down to the motivation. So this is the way I would be just asking questions. I would be like, what was your name again?
Me?
Yeah.
Roji.
I'd be like, hey, Roji, like, it almost sounds like you would be better off renting this property versus selling it, no?
I mean, that's my plan if I can't get 1.2.
Got it. And then you said with the 1.2, like what would you do with the 1.2? You said that you wanted to clear 500,000, but let's imagine that you got that 500,000. Like, what would you reinvest it in?
Well, I don't know, maybe into bonds or stocks. I just kind of move my money around here and there.
Got it. And then how long has this property been a rental for you?
It's about like 7 years now.
Okay. Was this property ever a primary residence for you?
Yeah, we used to live here and then we moved to Cyprus. Maybe like 2 years.
So at some point it was a primary residence, but it's been 7 years since you've been renting out the property, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. Okay. And then you said like stocks and bonds. So you wouldn't buy a different property. At least that's what it sounds like.
Well, I don't know. It depends. If it's a good cap rate, yes. We'll probably think about buying out of state though, not in California.
Okay. And if you did buy out of state, like which states would you consider?
I don't know. I heard like Utah was pretty good. Arizona, like everyone's moving their money there. Texas, maybe.
Uh-huh. Got it. And I know that this is a single family residence. Would you buy the same type of asset down in those areas? Or would you buy like multiple properties or like even multi units?
Oh, and I never really thought about multi units, I guess.
So
if I can afford it, yeah.
So if you move the money, you might just buy like multiple different single family residences. Because isn't it cheaper out in Utah than California?
Oh, most definitely, yeah.
Yeah. How many properties do you think you could buy out in Utah?
I don't know, maybe like 2, 3.
Got it. And then just out of curiosity, I mean, this is a great property. It's in a great location. I mean, like, what would be the benefit of selling this one and buying out in Utah versus just keeping this one?
Good question. Well, I know Torrance is a nice area. I think it's going to appreciate more. So that's why we want to keep it out here.
Okay. So it almost sounds, I mean, would there be any benefit to moving the money to Utah or a different state?
I mean, no. If I can get more cash flow, then it'll make sense.
Got it. So the only way it would make sense is if you can get more cash flow than the Torrance property, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. Okay. And let me ask you this. Do you mind me asking like what type of interest rate you have on this property?
We have like a 7% interest rate.
Okay. So if you move the money somewhere else, you would be getting the same type of rate, basically.
Right.
Got it. Okay. And then if you could get more cash flow in Utah, would you actually do it?
Well, that's another thing I want to think about, right? Because I don't know how I'm going to manage if it's out of state. But, maybe if after paying the management and all that, and I still can get some cash flow, positive cash flow, then yeah, because I'm like breaking even right now with this rental.
So it's not making any money for you, basically.
No, we're just depending on the appreciation.
Got it. And then do you mind me asking like how much equity you have in the property?
Yeah, we probably have like 500, 550 around there.
Got it. So you got like 500,000, but it's not making any money. So the other options would be like, okay, move the money somewhere else where I can get some more cash flow. That would be like the only way. You wouldn't move it out of state to break out even. At least that's what it sounds like.
Correct.
Got it. Okay. And let me ask you this. Have you ever considered a Delaware statutory trust?
A what?
A Delaware statutory trust?
What is that? I don't know what that is.
Okay. So a Delaware statutory trust is almost like a syndication for 1031 exchanges.
Okay.
So it's a way for you to do a 1031 exchange, but instead of you buying the next property, you transfer your equity over. And instead of you dealing with the management of the property, you receive a monthly check every single month for anywhere from about 5 to 6%. So you know how you said that right now you're on the 500,000 in equity that you have right now, you're not really receiving any cash flow. Let's say that you took that 500,000, you multiply it by 5%, that's $25,000 a year in cash flow. You would be making about $2,000 a month in cash flow. Because you're taking the equity from this property that's bringing you zero cash flow, and you're moving it to a different property or a Delaware statutory trust that's now paying you 5% on the equity that you have. The other benefit of it is that you would get out of the management gain. The other benefit of it is that unlike stocks and bonds, you wouldn't pay any capital gains right now. You would be deferring the capital gains. And then if one day you're no longer here, your children get to step up in basis. Do you know what I mean by that?
I kind of heard about the step up basis. Like it's you just the capital gains is gone, right?
So basically, in other words, you receive all the same benefits, the appreciation of the Torrance property. You would just instantly maximize your cash flow to go from $0 to $2,000. Is that something that you'd be open to?
Yeah, that sounds too good to be true almost.
Now, here's the other question. I know that you said that you want the 1.2. If you knew that you could do the Delaware Statutory Trust, but if you knew that instead of 500,000 in equity, you only had 400,000 in equity, meaning you could only sell it for 1.1, would you do it?
But I still get positive cash flow every month, right?
Positive cash flow. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I make a recommendation?
Sure.
And then I'd close.
I think you earned the business just right there, man. Just like how much you know about all this. Like he's already got his panties dropped. So I think it's a done deal.
I also think it's just like asking enough questions. Like, so for example, like, why did I ask how much equity you have? Because that depends on whether or not we can find a different investment that makes the same amount of cash flow. The other thing I might do in a conversation is I might be like, okay, what part of Utah would you consider? And I may pull up some properties on Zillow and be like, okay, well, it looks like properties down there are 400,000. If you can sell for 1.2, you could probably buy 3 properties. What would that rent for? Oh, each property would rent for $3,000. Okay. And then I would calculate a monthly payment for them. I'd be like, okay, so if you put $150,000 down on each property, your payment would be $2,000, and you can rent it out for $3,000 minus management fees. It means that you would be making $700 per property. So it is possible. Like if you're looking for more cash flow, it is possible. Now he made it easy for me because he said that he was looking for more cash flow. Like one, I've got to determine if that's realistic or not. Because sometimes people create these imaginary situations in their head where they're thinking like, oh, like I'm going to move the money to Utah and I'm going to make this positive cash flow. But let's say that he had a 2% interest rate. That situation is very imaginary and very unlikely. So in that case, because I've asked all these questions and ran different scenarios by him, I may make like, let's say he had a 2% rate. And I'm like, well, look, now at a 7% rate, your mortgage is going to be $3,000 and the properties could only rent for $3,000. Can I be transparent with you? The 1031 exchange to Utah, you're going to be in the same exact situation as you are in right now. You're not going to make any more positive cash flow by moving the money to Utah. Here's the only possible solution, the Delaware Statutory Trust. Or the other possible solution is that you sell and you invest in stocks and bonds, but you're going to have to pay some taxes on it. Are you okay with paying taxes on the sale? Next question. Well, how much would I have to pay? How much did you purchase it for? you know?
Hmm.
And then I would give like a rough estimation, like be like, hey, look, most accountants say it's typically anywhere from 20 to 30%. If you bought at X and you sold at Y, you're probably looking somewhere around 100,000. Would you be okay with that?
No.
Okay. Have you ever considered owner financing instead?
No, I have not even thought about it.
But even then, it's going to be hard because he's got a $600,000 mortgage. He'd have to do like some sort of creative financing, some sort of land contract. Now, the best possible option for him would probably be the Delaware Statutory Trust. It's just going to be, and eventually he's going to do it. It's just going to be whether the motivation is strong enough right now, or it basically he waits 2, 3, 4, 5 more years until he gets sick and tired of it, basically. But the whole reason I wanted to go over this conversation is just like, okay, like, are we digging deep enough to find out enough about their situation? And then are we asking enough questions to be able to be like, well, look, if you knew that this would happen, like another question would be like, well, if you knew that instead of the 1.2, you could only get 1.1, but you would get positive cash flow versus no positive cash flow, would you be open to that? Because that tells me how realistic the scenario in their head that they're envisioning is. And then just know that if they never invested at a state, they're going to be a lot more hesitant than they have. And be like, well, look, like, have you ever invested at a state? Like, what's your comfort level with investing at a state? Do you have any friends that would invest that have invested at a state? Do you have any concerns about investing at a state? Because that'll tell you how realistic that option is as well, too. Like, no, I've never invested at a state. You know what? I'm very concerned about it. People stick to what they're comfortable with. I've only invested in Ventura County. I stay away from everything outside of Ventura County. Comfort level. Could I get more cash flow somewhere else? Yeah. I'm just super comfortable here.
Got it. Yeah,
Helpful?
deeper questions. Because I was going the route of, I knew DST would be something that he would be interested in. I just couldn't explain it like the way you explained it. And I didn't get the other question down to kind of dig on the equity, right? Like, are you
the loan, the interest rate basically on it? Yeah. The interest rate and the loan. So even at our flow chart, like if you look at it, like there's a couple different things that happen on every single it's almost like a puzzle. Imagine putting a puzzle together, and then once you put if you only have one piece of the puzzle and you don't know what the picture is going to be, can you tell what the picture is going to be? No, right? But if you have all the pieces of the puzzle, can you see what the picture is going to be? Yeah, right? So that's all that it is. It's a puzzle that you're putting together. And in order for you to get the puzzle, there's different pieces that you have to get. So like one of the pieces is motivation. Like, hey, why would you do this? Right? Another piece of the puzzle is timing, right? Another piece of the puzzle is price. Like, what price would you want? Another piece of the puzzle is like, what type of sale are you looking for? Are you looking for like a cash offer? Are you looking to list it with an agent? Do you have an agent that you're going to list with? Another piece of the puzzle is like loan balance / financial. So when loan information, like, okay, what's the loan balance? How much equity do you have? Another piece of the puzzle is how much equity do you have? Another piece of the puzzle is like, what's your interest rate? Another piece of the puzzle is like, are you the decision maker? So there's about 5 to 6 different pieces of the puzzle that if you put them together, you'll find out what the picture is. And based on the picture, you'll be able to determine whether or not this is going to make sense for them. The price is only one piece of the puzzle. The motivation's only another piece. Now, this puzzle gets a lot more complicated if you add a different side. So selling is one side of the puzzle, but imagine selling and buying. There's different pieces of the puzzle when it comes to buying property. So some of the questions that we asked is, if you did sell, where would you reinvest the money? Well, I'd invested in Utah. What type of properties would you be looking for if you invested in Utah? Would you be looking for a single family? Would you be looking for a multi-unit? So what happened with this puzzle is you were only looking at it from the sale side, but if you're only looking at it from the sale side, you only have half the picture. If you look at it from the buy side and what you're going to do next, that's the full picture. So most people are really good at the sell side of the puzzle. And if it's only the sale side, it's only one puzzle, you're good. But if it's a sell and a purchase, then it's one bigger puzzle that you have to solve. And there's a lot more pieces to that puzzle. One of the pieces of the buying side now is, what does the next property look like? What does the ideal property look like? That has to do with location. That has to do with timing. Hey, are you going to be financing the next property, or are you going to be purchasing it in cash? Like, do you see how the buy side has its own set of puzzles or pieces of the puzzle? It'd be the same thing. It'd be like, okay, what are you looking for? What type of properties are you looking for? That's one piece of the puzzle. Motivation is another piece of the puzzle. Timing is another piece of the puzzle. Financing. How are you financing it? Are you buying it in cash? Are you coming up with the rest of the money in cash? Are you getting a loan? Because what happens if they're financing it? They'd probably want to talk to a loan officer, right? And what happens if they have a 2% rate and now they're going to get a 7% rate? You'd want to put that on the table. Be like, look, you're going to go from a 2 to a 7. Are you okay with that? The other piece of the puzzle is, are you how are you handling this transaction? Are you selling first and then buying? Are you selling and buying like right at the same time? Are you doing a reverse 1031 exchange? Like, do you know what a reverse 1031 exchange is?
Basically, buy the property first and then transfer the capital gain, right?
Exactly, 100%. So that's a completely different side of the puzzle right there. So if you're able to combine both puzzles, you'll get the clear picture whether or not it's realistic for this guy. And whether or not the scenario, whether or not there's a solution. I have a feeling that the right solution is a Delaware statutory trust.
Got it. Yeah, he is pretty interested about it.
Yeah, and then if you look at a lot of the scripts, like the expired script, they have this like whenever it says, where are you moving to next? That's the piece of the motivation. Whenever it says, how soon do you have to be there? That's timing. If he says, how did you happen to pick the last agent that you listed with? That's the type of sale / agent question of it. So if you start looking at the scripts instead of a one-liner as what piece of the puzzle is this, you're going to realize that all of the scripts have the same pieces of the puzzle. Like the prequel has motivation, has timing, has when I see you, how much do you want to list the home for? That's pricing. It has loan balance, meaning how much do you owe on the property? It has what type of sale do you want? Have you ever thought about selling it yourself? It has how much do you owe on the property, which is the equity piece of it. Do you see how it has all the pieces of the puzzle? So if you're like, where do I go? It's like, okay, what pieces of the puzzle am I missing? Haven't I asked? And what's a way for me to ask this so I can get the full picture of the puzzle, basically.
Sean, Andrew, you had questions or?
That was so good, dude. Good analogy right there. Had a quick question about the Delaware statutory trust. When you do that, does that get reinvested into commercial real estate, or what is that avenue?
So I actually did a really good episode, Sean, that's going to be coming out on my YouTube channel. But I don't know when it's probably in the next 30 days. I'd recommend watching it, but it's different asset classes. It's whatever asset class you want. So they do industrial, they do multifamily, they do storage, they do triple net commercial properties. So let's say that I have the 500,000 in equity, right? I can either say, hey, I'm going to invest all 500,000 in this one deal, or I'm going to invest it in different deals. I'm going to invest a portion into student housing. I'm going to invest a portion into apartments. I'm going to invest a portion into storage. So that's the most important thing that you do. So as an investor, if I'm doing a Delaware statutory trust, what I'm looking at is I'm looking at their package for that property. Like if they're like, oh, the student housing project is really good, I'm looking at the building. I'm looking at like, okay, like look, underwriting the building and be like, okay, do I believe in this building? Or like if I'm investing in a commercial asset like a Walgreens, I'm like, okay, do I think Walgreens would be around for the next 10 to 50 years?
That's
You know?
awesome. Yeah.
Basically the
So-
same way you underwrite a normal property, you would underwrite this and they would give you all the financials. That's
So-
the most important decision that you make besides the financial advisor. And if you guys need a financial advisor, the guy that I'm interviewing for my podcast, he's a really good person that does Delaware statutory trust. I actually have a really good contact now for Delaware statutory trust.
And
So
is there a
it's
way to get
basically
paid on
a
that?
s-
Sorry, say it
Basically
again.
syndication almost.
It's basically like a syndication, but for 1031 exchanges. That's like the easiest way for me to explain it.
Love that. Love that. Thanks, bro.
But
Yeah.
would you say it's like similar to a REIT in a sense?
No, because a REIT, you don't actually own the real estate, basically. In a REIT, you don't get, to my understanding of a REIT, you don't get depreciation in a REIT. You get dividends on a REIT. So it's different than a REIT.
That's a key point. So you actually can depreciate off the income that
You
you
can
get in.
depreciate the income. And with the REIT, to my understanding, I'm not 100% sure if you get the step up in basis.
Huge. Thanks.
With a DST, you get those. So I have an episode on what a REIT is as well too on my YouTube channel. So if you look up what is a REIT, and then I would watch what is a REIT, and then what is a Delaware statutory trust. And then the main thing is just not getting overcomplicated, not like knowing everything about it, but having a good person that like, I don't know everything about loan assumptions. I don't know everything about subject twos, but I have really good contacts now that know everything about those. So I just made a contact recently. I had a client of mine do Delaware statutory trust, and he connected me with a guy that does them. And he's been the most helpful person in that field and like super helpful, basically.
And that's the point. That's the arsenal. You know, once you build your arsenal, you can actually help the client in the best way possible. And then it makes sense. And then you're guiding them to their decision.
Bro, this guy made me aware of something, and I don't want to go. If anybody has any questions, I'll shut up. Does anybody have any other questions? But I'll tell you guys this. He made me aware of, like, let's say somebody has a $20 million property, right? And you're only exempt $500,000 in capital gains as a married couple if you live in the property. This is for owner users. You're like,
What's
okay,
the name of the trust company again, Jose?
No,
Susan's
it's called the
asking.
Delaware Statutory Trust.
Delaware Statutory Trust.
That's just
Okay,
the name
perfect.
of the investment vehicle. It's not the name
Oh, I
of the
see. Not
the
the
name.
company.
The guy, his name is Lyndon Gray, and he works for, I think, Atria Financial Services. Atria
Sweet.
or Atria. He's here in California. Super smart guy.
Andrew Garcia Tilson has a question. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So I have a motivated seller. He's a little hesitant. You know, he has every right motivation. The property's too big for him, and he's had the property for a while, and it's kind of deteriorating. And I kind of want to point that out to him. But he hit me with the bring me an offer first, and I want to buy something before I can leave. And I'm just kind of, I don't know how to structure it because he does need to sell. The property is like, it's been under his name or in his family for a long time. And if he doesn't do something with it soon, I don't know. I feel like the property could lose value more and more. And it's definitely a fixer-upper. So I guess, what would be a way to make him feel confident with us to close and I guess just like really show him that he needs to sell the property?
Well, I don't think it's you showing him that he needs to sell the property. It's what's his reasoning for wanting to sell the property.
But it's
Like,
too big for him to maintain it.
So it's too big for him. Now,
Yeah.
he probably knows that it's too big for him. Does he want something smaller?
Yes, he does. He has extra that uses them as storage. So
What would be the benefit to him of getting something smaller?
it would be easier for him to maintain and he wouldn't have to take care of much. And also the property that he's in right now, it's definitely a fixer upper. So it's not. I personally wouldn't want to live in a property like that. You know, just there's trash everywhere.
What's your name?
Andrew Tilton.
Hey, Andrew, what you would want or what you wouldn't want is completely irrelevant. So here's the hardest thing that I had to learn about real estate, Andrew. Like, not everyone, most people are not going to think the same way that you do. So when you say, I wouldn't personally want to live in a property like this, dude, people fucking have cat farms at their house, and that's what makes them happy. So what you would want is completely irrelevant. It's more about like, okay, what does he want? So it's once again, how many puzzles is this? Is this one puzzle, like seller and buyer, two puzzles, or one puzzle?
Yeah, it's two puzzles.
Okay. And how many pieces of the puzzle are you missing? Meaning like, okay, like how much equity does he have in the property?
He owns it outright.
Okay. So no loan, no payment basically on it. Right. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. And then if he did move, would he stay here locally or move out of the area?
Yeah, he wants to stay local.
Okay. And is he in a 2-story or a single story right now?
It's a single story, but there's an extra room that's upstairs that he doesn't use. So technically 2 stories.
Does the extra room have a bathroom?
Yes, it does.
Okay. So what's his biggest pain?
I think the property is just too much for him to maintain. That's what it is.
Okay. I mean, does he have any financial pain?
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure he's retired. I don't think he works. He's an older gentleman.
Let me ask you this. Is he okay with living there for the rest of his life?
It could be a possibility.
Have you asked him that?
No.
So I would be asking him questions like that because I don't hear any pain. I know you're thinking like, oh, fuck, there's a bunch of different maintenance. It's getting too big. But like if there was no bedrooms downstairs and he was having trouble going up and down the stairs, that might be a pain. But a lot of times, bro, people, when they get older, they get like attached to the house where they've lived at and they will fight it, bro. I have people that don't have a bedroom downstairs and will make their living room a bedroom and add a bathroom in the garage or something like that, not to move from their home. So the question becomes is, what are the pain points? Are there any pain points? Because if there's not any pain points, it may be that it's just not urgent. And like sometimes as agents, it's more important for us for them to do something than important to them. They may be irrelevant about it, they may be indifferent. But if you're trying to convince him to downsize, you're playing the wrong game, bro.
Okay.
Instead, you need to find out, what's the benefit to him of downsizing? Is there any benefit? What are the pain points? Why would he want to downsize into something smaller? And if there's no pain points, it may just be like, look, because Andrew, to be quite honest, it sounds like you're probably better off staying here where you're currently at. Hey, let me ask you this. Like, if you could live here for the rest of your life, would you do it? Yeah, I would. I'm going to die here. Okay, great. Let me ask you this. Like, what if the deferred maintenance gets worse on the property? Do you have the financial resources to be able to fix it? No, I don't. Okay. Would you ever consider moving into a single story? What would be the benefit of getting something smaller? Like if you had a choice between getting something smaller and staying here, which one would you choose? Why?
Yeah, I think it's mainly maybe I was just not asking the right questions in fear of actually getting rejected or him being like, yeah, I actually don't want to do anything. And, me feeling that. So
And if he doesn't want to do it, Andrew, you're spinning your wheels on somebody that has no motivation to do anything, brother.
Understood.
And that was the hardest thing for me. Like when I started showing properties, bro, I used to show people fixer uppers. I'm like, oh my God, this property had so much potential. Like, dude, let's say you invest $30,000, you're gonna have like $70,000 in equity, and they'd be like, no, this is ugly. I want nothing to do with it. No. And then they'd go buy a fully remodeled property for $200,000 more, and I'd be like, what the fuck? Like, these guys stupid, you know? And the reason is I wanted everybody to think the way that I thought. The problem is not you. This is not about you. This is about them. And it's about finding out what's important to them. What do they want? And does it make sense for them? And is their scenario realistic? And if it is, great, you can help them. If it's not, stay in touch with them, because that might connect with them in the future. I'm not saying he's not going to sell it ever. He's just potentially not going to do it right now.
Okay, perfect. You know, that actually really helped him. Yeah, I think being new into this, it's like what I want. But at the end of the day, you're right. It doesn't really matter what I want, because I can't convince anybody.
And the fact that you wouldn't live there has nothing to do with it, bro. It's complete. I wouldn't live in 99% of the houses I walk in, bro. That has nothing to do with it. Maybe not 99, but a pretty high percentage. No, it's not I wouldn't. If I had to, I would. It just wouldn't be my first choice.
Some bombs
right,
dropped
Andrew.
today.
Good job.
Thank you.
Good job.
I don't want to
Last
sound
insight
like
for the audience, Jose.
No, I would just say, like, look, and this is something that I realized, it's a big puzzle. So the first question I would ask myself is, okay, how many puzzles is this? Is this one puzzle or two puzzles, right? If it's one puzzle, which puzzle is it? And then what are the different pieces in that puzzle? And the more I can get those pieces together, the more it'll paint the picture. And if I get to see the picture, I fully understand their scenario now. If I'm able to understand their scenario, I'm able to come up with a proper diagnostic. If I'm not able to understand their scenario, I won't be able to diagnose properly.
I love it. I love it. Is Michael Ireland here? Ireland? No, all good. All right, guys, figure out the puzzle, dig deeper, and close. All right, guys, we'll see y'all next week. Thank
Later,
you,
guys.
thank you,
Peace.
thank you. Adios. Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys.